गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Om. I'll continue Sugama. So in this Swamiji answered, Nahi Advaita Siddhante. In Advaita Siddhanta, Jnanotpatti, rising of knowledge, and Ajnana Badha, falsify, means rising of Jnanam means understanding that I am non-dual Brahman, and then falsifying the Adhyasa, Avidya, that Avidya or Anatma doesn't exist apart from Atma. This is falsification. This falsification and Guru Shishya Bheda, that there is a Shishya other than Guru. Guru is one person, Shishya is another. So this Bheda means this duality of Guru and Shishya, this third point. Fourth point is his teaching disciple. Guru's teaching his disciple. These 4 points. One is the knowledge, rising of knowledge. Second is Ajnana getting falsified. Ajnana getting falsified. Third one is the difference between Guru and Shishya. Fourth point is their teaching. All these 4 points are Vyavaharika Drishti only. They are not Paramarthika. That means they don't really exist, so that they are not real happenings. The idea is that Ajnana is not really there and you have to really remove. This is what it means. We don't mean that there is something really Ajnana there and you have to really remove. Not that there is a really bondage and you have to really remove it. Not that there is a really world is really there and you have to break it into pieces and destroy it. So, because of thinking this, that there is really there, the question arises, how will you destroy, how will you remove, after removing what happens, if one removes what will happen to other, the one and other, all this assumes that there is something really there and really removing, really problem, really doing. Because of this thinking of sense of reality, thinking of reality alone, all these people are trying to give different explanation, different prakriya. The different prakriya of Mula Vidya implies these things. Otherwise, you don't go about explaining all these things. It is something like, I'll give you. I say, the person, he is seeing the snake and is afraid. So, Guru, a person who, another person who is not afraid, he teaches them, I'll tell you how to remove the snake, I'll tell you, come on. And I'll bring the light and show you that there is no snake, I'll tell you. And now the question comes here, if the person, the Guru who is teaching, does he also see the snake? If he doesn't see, how does he teach that this snake is not there, this is unreal? How does he teach? See this question. This question assumes that the person under illusion, the person under mistake, the mistaken person who sees the snake, he imagines that the teacher also sees the same snake. Otherwise, how will he teach? Now the doubt arises here, because you say the teacher doesn't see the snake, he understands that it is rope only. Then a teacher who understands that there is only rope, he doesn't see the snake, then how does he teach me? How did he tell me that this snake is inseparable from rope? He is referring to as this snake. How does he refer? If he doesn't see the snake, how does he refer? Another question. If the snake doesn't appear to him, it appears to me, how does it happen like that? If snake appears to me, it should appear to Guruji also. If I am seeing the snake, Guruji also must see. If Guruji doesn't see, I also should not see. That means, since I am seeing, it must be there. So it must be destroyed. You assume that it is there and it has to be destroyed. So the whole prakriya rachana, the making of a prakriya, designing a prakriya implies. They may orally not admit. You see what they are trying to explain. What are they trying to explain? What question they are trying to explain? If you can see, the explanation is offered to somebody who says that it is already really there. So, and without assuming that it is really there, all this explanation of Mula Vidya would not have arisen. Otherwise, it is not required. See the next sentence, what Swamiji says. Nahi Advaita Siddhante, all these things Paramarthaha ityabhyupagamyate. In the same sentence, one more part he adds, another phrase, another clause, let us say. He says, Prapancha Sadbhavatan Nivrittiva Paramarthike. See, another clause he adds. Prapancha Sadbhavaha Tannivritti. Existence of the world and its real removal. They are not real. There is no really, world is not really there, and you need to really remove. They say, yes, we also mean the same. No. You may say, you may also understand Brahman. We don't know. You may be Brahmagnani. That's a different issue. We are not disputing your Brahmajnanam. Question is not your prakriya only. How the prakriya, what impression it gives to the listener. We are only interested in the prakriya. See, Mula Vidya has got two qualities. One is two qualities or two functions. One is avarana, another is vikshepa. It covers and it produces. It covers Brahman and produces something else other than Brahman. Okay? Now, that what produces is Adhyasa, is a misunderstanding. But before misunderstanding, there is something substantial. Something substantial, that substance is capable of doing two things. One is it covers, another it produces. Okay, now this assumption implies that they are assuming a substantiality to it. Second thing, then Jnanam comes. Jnanam removes only avarana, covering the veil alone it removes, but the projection it doesn't remove. Vikshepa is called projection, avarana is veil, the covering. They say Jnanam comes and removes covering alone and retains projection. Is it not partially destroying, partially retaining? Avidyalesha. Some people try to explain that no, whether you call avidyalesha, badhitanuvritti, all it means same. No, what does it mean? So, a part of it you destroy, a part of it you retain. They say Jnanam comes and destroys only avarana, doesn't destroy vikshepa. What does it mean? But you talk of destruction, because the third point is about destruction. In fact, destruction I should have stated in the beginning and this later anyway, whether it is earlier or later. Now, the destruction means it has got a praga bhava, and it has a praga bhava, means earlier it has been continuing to exist, but it has got a pradvamsa bhava. Pradvamsa bhava means it can be destroyed, it can be made to non-existing, but it has been existing. Pradvamsa abhava, what does it mean, abhava? Abhava means it was existing before and later it ceases to exist. It existed before and it ceases to exist. What does it mean? This existing and ceases to exist, this means a real destruction. Because abhava, bhava, the very words mean present and absence. That means it was existing and really you remove it. So abhava means you render it non-existent. That means you are destroying it. Then why use that language? Okay, let us say you are Brahmagnani, you mean the same. Then why use this language? The listener is getting that it is existing only. The whole language you use it, I say I don't mean it. I don't mean it. But if you don't mean it, then why did you say all these things? So it is a bha, then it destroys, and then the abhava follows, followed by abhava. Pradvamsa bhava. And that too only avarana goes and vikshepa continues. Vikshepa doesn't have pradvamsa bhava, only avarana has got pradvamsa bhava. Avarana alone is destroyed. Vikshepa continues to carry out prarabdha. Okay. Now, one part of avidya goes away, another part remains. This when you are openly admitting, this is what is mula avidya lesha. And this, okay. Generally, we say avidya goes by knowledge, but here you say avidya goes, only part of avidya goes, another part of avidya remains in spite of knowledge. Then what will you do? Knowledge also remains, the other part of avidya also remains side by side. That means the jnanam ajnanam contradiction, what happens to that? Light and darkness are opposite to each other, what happens to that? Opposition, what happens to that? Then you don't know how to explain. Where there is a knowledge, there can't be ignorance. Where there is darkness, there can't be light. When there is a light, there is no darkness. Okay? They are opposite to each other. They cannot coexist. Now they implied, in fact, Panchapadikakara openly says that the opposition, see, one point I say, I will discuss more later. We have discussed also in a way in Sugama before only. Tamaprakashavat viruddha swabhavayo. On this point, those who have got a patience can go and search my old Sugama talks. Tamaprakashavat viruddha swabhavayo. They are, this Atma, Anatma are mutually contradictory, like light and darkness. This is what Shankaracharya told. When Shankaracharya told that they are opposite to each other, like light and darkness, now the question arises here, what kind of opposition between light and darkness Shankaracharya meant? Panchapadikakara says, coexisting is not the thing denied. Coexisting is quite possible. Swamiji told light and darkness cannot coexist. That is the opposition Shankaracharya meant here. They cannot coexist. Not coexisting is the opposition between them. If one is, the other doesn't exist. They say no. Even after knowledge, jnana, ajnana can persist. So knowledge can persist side by side with ignorance. Atma can persist side by side with anatma. So coexistence is not denied. So when Shankara says Atma, Anatma opposition, he doesn't mean coexistence. They can coexist. This is what Panchapadikakara openly says, and the all other people, all other who believe, who follow Panchapadika, they also admit this. See, what they have in their Anubhava, they know it, they know. What is their Anubhava, they know. We are not disputing you are Brahmagyani or Ajnani. You might be Brahmagyani. Okay, let us accept. We don't lose anything if you become Brahmagyani. If you are Ajnani also, we don't lose anything. We don't gain anything. So your personal Anubhava of Jnana, Ajnana, we leave it to you. That doesn't come into question. The presentation, how you present and how the listener gets the understanding through your presentation, through your prakriya. A generally reasonable understanding, not extreme understanding, not so what generally, you take a sentence, what is the general understanding commonly any person gets? When you read a sentence, what kind of understanding a person gets? That's what we see. So he says, jnanam arises, then prarabdha can continue. It can continue. Jnanam sits by the side of ajnanam and it doesn't touch it, doesn't destroy it. Because they are talking of destroying only. And after prarabdha is exhausted, then what happens? Then that ajnanam, remaining ajnanam can be destroyed. Now why jnanam? Jnanam does the destruction of avidya in two stages. Partly it destroys as soon as it rises. Other part it lives with it. And after the end of the prarabdha, it destroys. Why jnanam cannot destroy it instantly? Why should light which is born, it destroys a part of darkness. Another darkness it doesn't destroy, it lives with it. It keeps on playing with it or enjoys the company of it. And after a long time, then it destroys the remaining also. Why suddenly it should destroy the remaining avidya also? Is the nature of opposition between light and darkness same and uniform? So this explanation looks very strange. Okay. Now if you want, I can show you. In Prakriya Prativigna, I can show you. Even the Madhusudana Saraswati, they all say everywhere you can see them. Not only the Aryan Panchapadika, later also we can see them. I've got underlined in all my books. I think in Prakriya Pratyabhigna I'll show you, or probably in Mula Vidya Nirasa. I'll bring the quotations, probably I'll write it and show in your screen also. I'll show. Now I have not prepared all those things. I underlined in my books. So he says, avidya lesha, that continues. Then when it is destroyed, when prarabdha is destroyed, the remaining avidya gets destroyed, then the real Advaita comes. They talk of real Advaita only there. That means before that there was no real Advaita. What you understand we are not disputing, but the listener, what should he get? Listener gets, this is the impression, he gets confused. We are only trying to correct, we are only trying to help the listener. No dispute about your Brahmajnana. You might be Brahmajnani, we will accept 100% you are Brahmajnani. But your presentation you have to correct, so that the listener is getting confused, listener doesn't understand. Okay. So then only later alone comes. Then why this thing? Even we have talked to our own people. Some of our senior sannyasis and our own batchmates. Batchmates means our own thing. Number of people we discussed, we talked to them. So they also seem to be say that yes, Mula, avidya lesh to hota hai. In Rishikesh and Haridwar, they would say, avidya lesh to hota hai, nahi hota hai to kya vyavahar kaise chalega? So then फिर अद्वैत कब से? अद्वैत तो बाद में. Even that prarabdha जो होगा, then the real Advaita comes later. We went to ask somebody, does Jnani have pramatrutvam? All the people were there, they jumped at us. Hey, what do you say? How can there be? How can a Jnani be without pramatrutvam? He must have pramatrutvam. They were jumping at us. Hey, what do you talk? What do you mean? Yes, of course there is pramatrutvam for Jnani. Oh, number of sadhus we have talked about. I don't know what they say, but anyway, all those things, ultimately we leave it to you. It is ultimately everybody has to understand for himself. It's not a question of personal quarrel, because it's a matter of anubhava. It's a matter of anubhava. Then how you retain pramatrutvam, or you false, make it false, understand that you are free from pramatrutvam, it is up to you. But if you, by retaining pramatrutvam, can you be free from duality and samsara? Can you be free? That's what we say. In Baditanavritti, when we say, see, Swamiji says here, there is Baditanavritti. Badita means there is a world and you destroy. This point is not there. Whether for Jnani, for Ajnani, world is not there. This is what Badita means. Snake is not there both for Ajnani, even while Ajnani is seeing, snake is not there. Even when Jnani understands rope, snake is not there. Whether for Ajnani or Jnani, snake is not there. He only sees, it is his perception. It is only his conception, that's all. So he only corrects his own conception, he doesn't correct there. He doesn't correct there on the rope. In the rope there is nothing, there is only rope. Therefore we say, there is no snake which has to be really destroyed. It is only your own conception. Just because you think that there is a snake, does it mean the snake should exist on the rope there? Just because you perceive the snake, your perception doesn't imply the presence of snake on the rope. Therefore, whether one who sees the rope, one who doesn't see the snake, for both the people, for Ajnani who misperceives the rope for snake, a person who rightly perceives the rope, for both of them, snake doesn't exist. Snake never existed, because snake is also rope alone. The so-called snake is also rope alone. Then where does it exist? It is only your perception. When it is only perception, you only correct it by understanding, that's all. Therefore, snake vidyamana san nivruttaha. Bhashya, Gaudapadacharya says, I think he may be quoting, vidyamana san nivruttaha. No, not here, somewhere. Gaudapadacharya says elsewhere, vidyamana san nivruttaha. We have said before, I think we said it in the Sugama inside somewhere, this quotation of Gaudapada. It doesn't mean that snake vidyamana san nivrittaha. There is nothing to nivritta, there is no snake to remove. Only your perception, you have to correct it. Oh, I wrongly thought it never existed. Never existed, that's all. The wrong thinking is corrected, that's all. Your wrong thinking is understood as a wrong. No removing of snake. Therefore, no removing, no lesha, no avidya lesha. Once you correct it, it never existed. Therefore, paramartataha prapanchaha vidyate, paramartataha nivartate. We don't say that. Therefore, it is only falsification. It is just a falsification. Therefore, badita anurti alone, badita alone is right. There is no destruction. Another point is jnanam doesn't destroy anything. Jnanam na karakam kintu jnapakam only. Jnanam is only jnapakam natu karakam. This is throughout Prasthanatraya Bhashya has been telling. Jnanam only points out. It reveals. It doesn't change anything, doesn't modify anything. Pragabhava and later Pradvamsa bhava, it destroys it. It doesn't bring about any change. It doesn't bring about any change. It is only perception. You understand that perception is only a perception. You stand without perception, that's all. You stand free from that. So, therefore he says, prapancha sadbhava tannivritti. Therefore, all this Mula Vidya implies that it has got two powers. Jnanam destroys one part of it and retains the other power. And the Jnanam really destroys one power. Therefore, you talk of Pradvamsa bhava. Anadi but Santa. You say they talk of Avidya, Anadi but Santa. It is beginningless but has an ending. Does Bhashyakara ever say that it has got a beginningless but it is ending? Adhyasa doesn't have a beginning. See, from the Adhyasa standpoint, it is beginningless, endless. Adhyaso anadiranantaha, he says. Anadi anantaha. So, falsification is not ending. Note it. Falsification is not ending. Because ending implies presence. Badha doesn't imply, and this is more technical, I think we'll discuss later in Mula Vidya Nirasa. So anyway, I touched the topic, I'll just say a little bit more, we'll discuss there. So, Anadi Ananta. But they say it is Anadi but Santa. Mula Vidya is beginningless but has an ending. But Shankaracharya says like in dream. In dream is beginningless and endless. See, you are dream. When you are in dream, you don't know when you have started. Do you ever see when you have begun the dream? When you are in dream, can you say that I have begun the dream just now? Nobody can say when you have begun the dream. And nobody can begin the dream. And if you keep on dreaming, nobody can end. Who has to end? Dream Pramata should end. Should dream Pramata is a part of a dream, he can't end. When you look at the outside the dream, that is a Sakshi, dream doesn't exist at all. Where is the question of ending? You understand from the Sakshi standpoint, dream doesn't exist. You understand how it doesn't exist. You don't end it. They talk of ending. Bada means no talk of ending. Bada means Bada means it never existed. There is no question of removing. It never existed, neither before nor now. See, from the Sakshi standpoint, from the Sakshi of the entire waking state to that Sakshi, dream never existed. Where is the question of ending? You understand how it never existed. This is Bada. Understanding that it never existed is Bada, not ending. They say it was beginningless but ends. What you understand, again I repeat it, we leave it to you. But your words, what impression they are giving to the listener. What impression? That means what impression they are giving. That means they assume that there is the world and you have to destroy it, you have to end it. There is a world, it is a beginningless, but it has got an ending. You have to end it by jnanam. Now this kind of beginningless but ending implies that it is there and you have to remove it. And partly you remove it, another part continue for sake of prarabdha. And they say, if for one jnani it ends, what about other jnani? Other ajnani. If ajnani it continues, if it continues for ajnani, then Ishvara has to continue the world for sake of other ajnanis. So Ishvara has got avidya, mula vidya, and he has to create the world. So for Jnani he destroys it, but Ishvara has to continue for sake of other Ajnanis. What is this all? World goes away for somebody and continues for other. That means, is it there to continue? See, for a Jnani, he sees that there is no rope. So should it continue for one person and destroyed for other person? It is for Jnani, the snake never existed. Where is the question of destruction? There is only rope throughout. That there is only a rope throughout, you come to understand. That's all. Oh, you understand that it has been rope and now rope, earlier rope, later also rope, all the time rope. It has been rope throughout. Therefore, it has been non-dual throughout. It has been, it is, it will be. Avidya sahakaryena nasidasti bhavishyati, Sureshwaracharya says. Avidya sahakaryena na asid nasti na bhavishyati. So there is no question of destruction. If you destruction, then it goes away, but Ishvara has to continue the world for others. See, for Jnani, if he gains Jnanam and world is destroyed, then what about Ajnani? Then if one Jnani destroys the world, then Ajnani also stops seeing the world. This is the question they raise and try to answer. Why raising this question? As if you assume that the world is there and somebody destroyed and so it continues. All this way of explanation, prakriya, not individual argument, the whole total overall impression of the whole thing, the overall impression of the entire prakriya gives that it is something is there and you are destroying. Therefore, badha means it neither existed for you nor for me. There was only a thought, and the thought is understood as a wrong. So nobody is destroyed, nothing is destroyed. It's only that wrong thought is understood as a wrong. Wrong means it never existed, that's all. So therefore we told badha, not destruction. Okay, so prakriya, quarrel is not about prakriya. What tatparya it generates in the listener, what impression, what understanding it creates in the because prakriya is meant for giving rise to some understanding. That means it does some apavada and it gives rise to understanding. What understanding it gives rise to a person and what it negates. Is it negating? Or you orally say, but still the listener is carrying that instead of negating, is carrying it. It doesn't get falsified. It just because after falsification you talk of it, then that for Jnani goes away, because he has to continue for Ajnani, therefore the world is there, that the Ajnani's world, because Ishvara has to create the world. In between Jnani and Ajnani there is a third entity, Ishvara. And should Ishvara remove the world? For Jnani he removed the world, for other he continues the world. That means there is a third person in between. He shows the world to the Jnani, and for Ajnani he covers it, okay, you go away and I won't show you, but I will show it to the Ajnani. So in between third person means that is become real now. It becomes real now, isn't it? You talk of as if there is something real. Sorry, in one half of the clause, half of the sentence clause he says, Nahi prapancha sadbhavaha tannivrittiva paramarthiki. This one sentence Swamiji explained. I think Sugama, it requires a lot of explanation at every sentence. In fact, Sugama itself has become a very long commentary. But it looks that even every sentence needs further commentary. We have to give one more commentary over Swamiji's commentary. Every point, you see, even in this small clause, he explained a lot of things. Many points he explained. Prapancha sadbhavaha tannivrittiva na paramarthiki cha iti. Dvaita jnana sandoshita chittanam shishyanam kramena. This point yesterday explained for the disciple standpoint, who is still in Adhyasa. From his standpoint that there is I am ignorant and there is a guru and he has to teach me and I have to learn. All this assumption is there. So for sake of him, he told, yes, Jnani has to be like this, then only he will teach you and all that. So he needs a Jnani for him because he needs a teacher for him to teach. Therefore, for sake of him, all this explanation. But that doesn't mean that there is a really, Jnani is separate and you are separate. A Jnani which you are talking about is yourself alone. The Jnani which you are talking, who is free from Dvaita, there is nobody Jnani other than you. There are no two people, one is Jnani, one is Ajnani. It is the same at one level you are Ajnani, another level you are Jnani. It is yourself. It is yourself. You turn inwardly, you are already Jnani. You don't become Jnani. You turn inwardly, you say that, oh, I am already Jnani. Yes, you have been Jnani. You don't turn inward, you think that you are not Jnani and Jnani is a third person. Jnani is not a third person, you are Jnani. Everybody is Jnani. Your attention is turned outside, you think that turning outside alone is Ajnanam. Your attention is turned outside, that is Ajnanam. You turn inwardly, then you are Jnani. Huh. So, you see that you have never been Ajnani, then you have been Jnani. Then there is no second Jnani. So, you put as a two people, one is Jnani, one is Ajnani. This is all Ajnani standpoint. Ajnani, Jnani are not two people. They are two standpoints. There are two standpoints. There are two ways of looking. One is a wrong way of looking, another is as you are. What you are is Jnani. What you miss that, what you don't see how you are Jnani, when you miss it, you don't cognize how you are Jnani, then that is Ajnanam. You don't see that you are a Jnani, that is Ajnanam. Not that you are Ajnani alone. See, then there is one person totally Ajnani, there is one person totally Jnani. They are not two separate people permanently. Jnani is always Jnani, Ajnani is permanently Ajnani. There is no such thing called two people. Like here is a dog and here is a human being. Dog is a dog and human being is a human being. Dog doesn't become human being doesn't become dog. Probably they may become these days. Scientists may do. Anyway, we'll leave it. We'll take an example only. So they don't become. But here, Jnani, Ajnani are not two things. You turned inwardly. The very turning inward shows you lose your pramatrutvam. You look inwardly because pramata is a pramata when you look outside. You try to see something. The very trying to see the second is pramatru prameya division. You turn inwardly, the second vastu is missing, then the knowership also goes away. Then the known object of knowledge is missing, is removed, then the knower also doesn't exist. The knower known both dissolve and you are Brahma. Dissolve into whom? Dissolve into the same one Sakshi, one Chaitanyam. Sakshi means Chaitanya. So in that one Chaitanyam alone, so Pramatru Prameyam is two names for the same consciousness. Just only superficial names for one consciousness called as a Pramatru, called as a Prameya. They are just names for one Chaitanyam, one non-dual consciousness. Therefore, it is only your understanding yourself is Jnanam, Jnani. When you don't understand yourself is Ajnani. Jnani, Ajnani are not two people. Then you say, how can Jnani see this thing? All this question, childish question. Okay, assuming it we answer, okay, Jnani sees, Jnani doesn't see, and he sees this thing, all this. That's why he told, see, Swamiji says it is only Dvaita Jnana Sandushita Chittanam Shishyana. For a Shishya who is steeped in that thought of duality, that I am Ajnani, he is Ajnani, there are two people separately, then you have to explain. If a Jnani doesn't see Dvaitam, Jnani is separate from me, I am Ajnani. Ajnani is one person, Jnani is another person. Now, does Jnani see me separate? Oh, what is all this? All this is assumption only. All this, the one person, another person, one seeing another, one see, one another, all this is a kalpita. Therefore, see how Swamiji presents beautifully Dvaita, but it is in Sanskrit. I don't know, it's also brief. You have to, what to say, open that whole sentence, then you get the meaning. Dvaita Jnana Sandushitanam Tashishyanam Kramena Bodhanaya Idam Sarvam Prakriya Rachanam. All this is only a way of presentation. Prakriya Rachanam. Iti Natra Kinchid Asamanjasam. So nothing is Asamanjasam, nothing is improper, nothing. Improper means nothing, anupapatti, nothing is untenable. Asamanjasam means nothing is untenable, nothing is untenable. Therefore, now you say, how can Jnani see other? You are the Jnani. Where is the third person? You in your Swarupa Jnani, and from your Swarupam, this present your state of illusion. Your state of illusion doesn't exist for your real state. See, does snake exist for the rope? Simply, you will understand. Does a snake exist for the rope? To the rope, snake existing? Snake appears only when you miss the rope. How can the snake exist for the rope? Does snake exist for the rope? So you are the Brahman. To that your nature of Brahman, you are this present confused state of ignorance, this Ajnani, does he exist for your real nature? Do you, this questioner, this disciple, this questioner putting, this state, does it exist for you who is your consciousness, who is your Chaitanyam Advitiyam? In that Advitiyam, this apparent Ajnani state doesn't exist for your real nature. Then as if you talk of one Jnani, two people and one teaching. So this is assuming once you take that you are Ajnani, it is something like when you are in wake. Another example I'll give you. This is not example in a way directly Anubhava only. When you are in a waking person, when you are a waker, you think that deep sleep is another person, isn't it? Deep sleep is another person, waker is another person. But deep sleep is not another person. It is waker's swarupa. Waker's real nature is deep sleep. Deep sleep is not another state. You say, I go to deep sleep and I come to waking state. Are there two? Are there two states that waker goes? Where does he go? It is yourself. You, without the wakerhood, without the waking pramatrutvam is your real nature. Without waking pramatrutvam means, when will it come? To be free from pramatrutvam, to be only Chaitanya matram, will it come sometime later? Chaitanyam is ever existing fact. Therefore, Sushupti is not an another state. Your real nature is Sushupti. Therefore, Sushupti is you. When you miss Sushupti, you appear as a waker. And even when you are seeing yourself as a waker in your real nature, this apparent wakership, you leave it, you swallow and you stand as non-dual. You stand as non-dual. This what you are seeing now, the present, all this seeing doesn't exist for you, your real Advitiya Chaitanya. So there are no two people. There are no two waking state and deep sleep. They are not two. You alone without being a waker is Sushupti. When you take yourself to be a waker, there is a waking. Waking is only appearance. It is not an object entity sitting there. Waking is one state, deep sleep is another. Deep sleep is not a state. When you give up, means when you turn inward, waking disappears, because waking is only outward look. That's all. Extraverted look. When you turn inward, you are Sushupti. That means you alone remain. You alone means you don't stand as a Pramatru looking at a Prameya. When this divisiveness of Pramatru, Prameya, Anubhava, you swallow into yourself, means you don't make the division of subject and object of yourself. Yourself non-dual, you don't divide yourself. Without dividing, you stand. That is Sushupti. Therefore, tell me, where is Jnani, where is Ajnani? Are there two people? Oh, I think time is up. I thought today I should finish Sugama, but anyway, that I ended up repeating it. Doesn't matter, we'll finish tomorrow. That Bhashyakara's quotations, and then Swamiji conclusion and Mangalacharana. Mangalacharana means a conclusive invocatory verses, that is a tradition. But even in invocatory verses, he talks of Vedanta only. So that's a tradition that you offer respect to Paramatma. That we'll see tomorrow. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, tomorrow, what day is today? Let me see. Today is Friday. So Saturday, I have a different class. Sunday, Gita class. Let me see, probably Monday. Yeah, it will take Monday. I thought I would finish it. Anyway, it will take. Tomorrow, when there is one Telugu Gita, Bhashyam, and the day after tomorrow is a Gita, and then next Monday only we will finish it. Doesn't matter. We have waited so many days. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.